Are you trying to figure out how to set up Firebase? Well, I was too not too long ago. See, I decided to take on this 40-day challenge to build an entire app using Bolt.new. And right from the jump, I hit a pretty big roadblock. It was all about Firebase integration, and I want to save you from the same headaches that I went through. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I set up Firebase and where I messed up so you don't make the same mistakes. Now let me backtrack a little bit. I started this 40-day journey, or sprint I should say, with one goal in mind: to build out an MVP of an app that actually used by real people. So complete with user accounts and data syncs and all those things across devices. So in the first couple days, Bolt made it super easy to spin up a basic prototype. I'm talking like less than a minute to get through the UI. That part was honestly mind-blowing, but here's the catch. Once you move beyond that initial prototype, you've got to handle all the boring but essential stuff, like user authentication and data persistence, different things like that. So ChatGPT, Claude, and some YouTube research quickly convinced me that setting up the Firebase integration was the best next logical step. I needed user accounts and databases that wouldn't just vanish if someone switched devices or cleared their browser history. Then came the really fun part. This was the kind of dreaded Firebase, let's call it roadblock. And even though I followed a StackBlitz tutorial, basically word for word, I still managed to skip crucial steps. So my app kept throwing me errors and I had no idea how to fix them. So meanwhile, I'm still juggling my family commitments, soccer practice, all those kind of things for my kid, plus all the other projects that I had going on in the background. And it was one of those moments I was like, all right, did I bite off more than I can chew? But hey, that's life. But here's what I learned in the process. One is focus on core infrastructure before the features. Laying a solid foundation with Firebase ensures that your app works more reliably across devices and in the case that somebody logs out or switches a device. Number two is the importance of configuring sign-in methods. Skipping this step can cause major headaches, and it has caused major headaches for myself. Make sure you enable your authentication methods in Firebase from the start, or Supabase, which they have later integrated into the Bolt network. Number three is using AI tools effectively. So I leaned really heavily on ChatGPT and Claude for troubleshooting, and that really proved how powerful and how useful AI tools can be for problem solving. And number four is persistence pays off. Don't be afraid to revisit tutorials like this one and documentation when things don't go the way that you think that they're gonna go, or they just don't work out the very first time. And number five is the role of manual configuration. Automation tools like Bolt are great, but sometimes you have to go hands-on to truly understand what's happening behind the scenes. I like to use Bolt a lot of times as a learning apparatus as well. I ask it questions about what's going on in the background so I understand more about how everything's functioning. And number six is creating Firestore collections. This is a critical step that I initially missed, so make sure you set up collections properly in Firestore for data storage. Now, if the app is set up correctly, it can do that on its own, but I had a problem with that, so you might have to do a little bit of a deep dive, but we're gonna get into that into this video. All right, so that's just a basic overview of what it looked like on day 3 of me trying to set up this app. So let's go ahead and dive into the tutorial part. This is kind of a blueprint for hooking up Firebase to your Bolt project. And hopefully I'll be able to get through it without a lot of the issues that I went through when I did it the very first time. All right, let's dive in. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into trying to figure out how to set up Firebase. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go from the very beginning here, just starting with setting up a brand new app. If you've already done this part, bear with me. I'm just gonna say, So what I did, and I usually brainstorm this in ChatGPT, but since I'm just trying to show you really quick how to get Firebase set up, I just went ahead and riffed on an idea. So what I said was create an app where I can speak into a mic and generate my family tree that I can share with others to have them log in and add to the family tree. I'll be using Firebase for auth and the database. Let's go ahead and launch this just to get the app started. And while that is running over here, well, this is a turn of events. I apologize, but I need to point out some important considerations for this project. Web container environment limitations. We cannot use Firebase directly in web container as it requires native binaries. We'll need to use Supabase instead for authentication and database functionality. Browser's web speech API can be used for voice input. For family tree visualization, we'll need a specialized library. Let me create this application using Supabase instead. Would you like me to proceed with setting up the Supabase authentication, creating the database schema, All right, so what it's basically saying is that it wants to set it up with Supabase, even though I want to set it up with Firebase. That's very interesting because when I first started this project, they did not have the Supabase integration, which I'm going to dive into that here very soon. Not in this video, but very soon. Let's see if we can say, let's set it up without Supabase for now. See what happens, see what it says. So this is going to vary from how I did it not so long ago, but that's good that you're seeing it this way because it might be a little more difficult now that they've integrated with Supabase, which I don't think that it should be a thing where they make it so that you can't integrate with Firebase, since a lot of people still use Firebase, but we'll see what happens. This will be a little test. So let's go ahead and dive into the Firebase side of everything. If you don't have a Firebase account, this is how it gets started. You go to firebase.google.com and it gives you this whole setup. And then you go right over here and click on Go to Console. When you click Go to Console, it will give you the option of logging in. I'm already logged in under one of my accounts right here. So go ahead and get logged in, sign up, all those kind of things. Firebase is a Google product. So you're gonna log in with whichever Google account you use for all these kind of things. And then once you get in here, there's going to be all these things that you see. I've already done a project over here, but then you're going to click create a project. So enter project name, and we're going to name this Family Tree Creator. Now hopefully we don't go through with this whole thing and then I can't get it even into Bolt because they switched everything up, but I don't think that's going to happen. I hope not. Google Analytics, Firebase, continue. Let's see. I guess you would, for Google Analytics, you create a new account. So Family Tree Creator, save. I accept all the things that I have no idea that I'm accepting, just like everybody does. And that's why they have all of our data. Oh well. All right, so right now it's going through, is creating the provisioning resources. All right, so I'm gonna jump back over here and let's see. I'm trying to decide which route to go with this. First I wanna try it out. Hey, my name is Khalil and I was born in May of 19, okay? Okay, whatever. That's not the point of this. All right, your Firebase project is ready. So let's go ahead and click continue. And we have the Firebase up and ready right here. So the first thing we're gonna wanna do is enable the Firebase authentication. So let's go down here, click on authentication. So we're already set up on this. If you wanna view the docs on how to get started, how authentication works, all that stuff is right here. So one of the things that I missed when I did this the last time that sent me in a loop when I was building out the app was I forgot to just click get started. I went through the tutorial from StackBlitz that they talked about this whole thing. Let's see if I can find it real quick for you, just to give you a point of reference. All right, so this is the video right here, how to add a database to your Bolt.new app. So when I was doing this the first time, I went through the whole process. I just watched this and actually I made it into a guide using ChatGPT. I took the transcript and made it into a guide and followed that step by step in order to set up a Supabase project. So once I got in here, I missed from getting from this point to the next point, I missed a key step, which was just clicking get started, because one of the next things that you're gonna need to see are right behind this, which is setting up the sign-in methods, which I'm pretty sure. So let's click get started. The last time, this one step that I missed sent me on a spiral, because I couldn't figure out how to get the email and everything set up. So they have all these different providers that you can do to set up. Today, I'm gonna do the very basic email password and try to get that set up. So this right here is very important. If you don't click enable email password, then you will not be able to get this whole thing set up. I don't know what this email link password list sign-in is. Maybe I can click it, see what happens. Okay, so this requires additional configuration steps. Let's go simple right now, just so that you can have somebody get into your app, log in, and have a user. Let's go ahead and save that right there. All right, so that is enabled right now. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna click on this icon, go to project settings, like I just did. We're here, we go to general, and then for your apps, we're gonna click on this because this is building out a web app. So app nickname is going to be Family Tree Creator. I hate typing. So let's do that. Family Tree Creator. Also set up Firebase hosting. I'm not hosting this. Click register app. Wait for that to do what it does. So right here is basically your Firebase setup. All of this stuff right here. Okay? So what we're gonna do now is I'm going to try this just to see what happens, honestly. I'm going to go ahead and do npm install Firebase right here just to see what happens. That's probably not the best thing to do. But what it's doing is it's installing Firebase in the background into your project. But what you can also do right here is say, I want to install Firebase into my project, do an npm install Firebase for my project. So right now it's installing Firebase into there. You can do it just the automated way as well. So I move this over so you can hopefully see this above my mug. Let's just do this. Okay, so on my Bolt project, Firebase has been installed. But if you have never done anything like that, this right here is a terminal, and that's where you would do commands if you're doing things manually. But Bolt does all this stuff automatically for you, so you just go in and say, install Firebase into my app, and it should run it for you. If not, as you see, that was a backup plan to do it manually. All right, let's see what we want to do now. And you can see all this stuff right here, and I'm not going to use this app anyways, so I'm going to delete all this when it's done. But this is all the information for Bolt to use. In order for it to access this information, you're going to need a .env file. So let's go ahead and put in a .env file. And if you didn't see what I did right there, if you right click, this is actually a newer feature in Bolt. If you right click right here, it gives you the option of creating a new file, new folder, copy path, and copy relative path. Now, before you would have to open it back up and just open it up into StackBlitz right here and then do all these things, but now they made it so you can do that. That's really nice. All right. Honestly, what you can do, let's do it this way just so that you can see the way that it should do it for you. If not, you can fall back on what I'm going to show you if it doesn't work out. All right, so let's go ahead and say I have. So the easy way to do this, hopefully it works out, is you just say I want to use Firebase for my auth and database. Here are the details for it. So I copied all the details from over here. All this information, I just copied it right here, and I'm going to go ahead and paste it in here. Let's see what happens. All right, so it's going ahead and setting up Firebase Authentication and Firestore database into your family tree application. So it's creating the Firebase configuration file and authentication with a context provider. So let's wait for it to do all of those things, and then we can go in and figure out exactly if it works or not. All right, let's click sign in. Let's go ahead. I'm going to use my email and password from a different app. All right, failed to sign in because I have not signed up yet. So it gives you that sign up option, sign up, boom, I'm in. So that's it for the login part of everything. So let's continue back to the console, and this is your whole project settings for your app. Pretty cool, right? So we're already in there. All right, so we've got users right here. You show up as a user in this family tree creator app. So that's good. The date that it was created, and last time signed in. So now you have a user, and once you get into building things on your app, you will be able to store the different data in the database. So let's go ahead and jump into Firestore, because that's how the app over here has set everything up. It's Firebase setup, authentication features, database integration, real-time updates using Firestore, automatic saving of family tree. So it's already set up Firestore. Let me default name and location. All right, so there are two modes. I was just learning a little bit about this. Start in production mode, which means your data is private by default. Client read-write access will only be granted as specified by user security rules. So when you're putting your app out into the world for other people to use, you want to put it in production mode. But if you want to start in test mode, where your data is open by default, but you can enable quick setup. However, you must update your security rules within 30 days to enable long-term client read-write access. So when you're in test mode, you can do a lot more of the testing things without the restrictions, but you don't want it to be out there in the world in the production mode. So let's go ahead, let's do production mode. I think that should be fine. So when this is one part that doesn't necessarily need to be done right now, in my opinion. But once you start to build out your app, you're gonna need different collections, but you can also have, I think you can have the app do that for you. Let's not get into that right now. So let's go ahead and make sure that this works. Actually, let's look at this really quick. Okay, so we did not put this, the information did not get put into the .env file. Let's go ahead and do this. Put this info into the .env file. When you're building out an app, the .env file is made to store things like your API keys and different things like that. When you finally get to the point of actually deploying it and putting it out in production, if you're using something like Netlify, you would put that secret information into your Netlify project because you don't want people to be able to access these files and get all of your secret keys. All right, so I think it has set everything up. Let's see what this says. All right, so it says there's a syntax error. Let's go ahead and try to fix that so we can jump in and see if our Firebase information is working out. Let's see what happens. My name is Khalil and I was born in 1978. Copy that error, put it in here. And honestly, just for demonstration purposes, we're not really talking about getting into how to build this app and how to troubleshoot different things on this app. I'm going to make it so we can type it in as well. So give me 1 second and we're gonna try to type in the name. All right, make it so we can type in the info as well as speak the info. So it's gonna add a text input alongside of it, allegedly, and then we can see what's going on with this Firebase stuff after that. Let's just go ahead and put Mark. All right, Mark is born 12/12/56. All right, so that is there. Let's see if that information showed up. All right, it did not show up in Firestore. We do have a user, so that's a good thing with the authentication. That is all knocked out. Users right here. Okay, so let's just ask Bolt what to do next. The data did not show up in Firestore. How do I fix that? What I did was I went over here into Firebase, but when it comes to the data, Firestore is a database. So once you input data, it's supposed to take the user ID and then save that data in your Firestore database. That did not work out. So let's see what it said. Let me fix the Firestore data persistence issue. The problem is likely that we need to initialize a document when a user first signs up to handle the data updates more robustly. Go ahead and try to knock out this error real quick. Now, one of the tricks that I use, not really a trick, is I use Claude a lot of times if I want to save on some tokens. So what you can do if you have an issue is you can put it into Claude and ask what it's all about, and then in order to give it reference, it just updated this source app, this app.ts file, which you can see right here as well. So what I'll also do is go ahead and give it that file, which was pasted right here. And what it'll do is it'll go through and let you know what that error means and then how to fix it. So this is the fix for it. And then if you really wanted to, you could say, give it the complete updated file. What you can do here is, we'll wait for it to do it, is generating the file. So it's taking what you had and it's fixing the error for us. So this is just a little hack that you can use because sometimes, for one, you learn more by doing it this way because it tells you what the error is and you can kind of see where to fix it if you want to go in and do it manually. For two, it can save you a few tokens if you do it this way. So that what you do is you would copy that code and then paste it back into this to replace the code with the error, and it should fix it for you. Or at least it should fix that issue. Another issue might come up after that. All right, so let's see where we are with this. I am still logged in. Let me log out, sign back in just to see what happens. Make sure that it's allowing me to. Yep. $12.56. Mark, failed to save changes. Please try again. All right, so we're having some issues. Let's go ahead and attempt to fix these issues, because that's where we're getting the errors, is because Firestore attempt to fix. Now, one thing that I learned or found out last time is that I think you can start a collection in order to be able to save the information. Let's go ahead and ask Bolt. Okay. So it's saying no, we don't need to start a collection. It's doing it manually. Or no, it's supposed to be automatically handled in the code. So it's supposed to automatically build the collections for you. So let's look at this problem again. Let's attempt to fix. Okay, so what it's saying is, I see the issue. The permission denied error is occurring because we need to deploy the Firestore security rules. The rules file exists but hasn't been deployed to Firebase. To fix this, you'll need to go to the Firebase console, which I'm in over here. Select your project, which I'm in. Click on Firestore database, which I'm in, and click on the rules tab. I forgot about this. Replace the existing rules with the content from our Firestore rule file. That's it. Let's copy it right here. Oh, paste, publish. All right, so let's go Firestore data, and boom, there we are. So if you want to see if it's working, that's how you see it, is you go into Firestore database, go to data, and then what it does, the collection that it started was family trees. And then it went, this is the user ID, basing everything on me as the user that I signed up as. And then this is the information that I put in. So we did find a couple of little issues, little things that we ran into when doing this. Went a lot smoother than the first time that I did it, which was, I guess it was about 2 months ago, the last time I did this. But now that they have Supabase built into this or integrated into this, I'm gonna need to check that out since I started everything on Firebase before this. So I'm gonna need to figure out how to integrate Supabase into this app, maybe instead of Firebase. I don't know, let me know in the comments if that seems like a better route to go with Supabase, if anybody has any experience with Supabase versus Firebase, and let me know what's gonna be the best thing to do in this scenario. So right now we've got our authentication set up on our new app so we can have new users log in, and for whatever information they put in there is saved into your Firebase database. All right, so that is how you set up Firebase in Bolt for your web apps. So that's nothing too crazy, right? But if you skip that step with the sign-in method, then you're gonna be banging your head against the wall just like I was. I just wondering why your authentication calls keep failing. So now you know a little bit better, and we got to work through some of the stuff together. Now, next on my agenda is deciding whether to stick with Firebase or switch over to Supabase for the long haul. It's a real toss-up because I love what Supabase has been offering, and Bolt's direct integration with Supabase is really tempting, and it seems like a lot of people are talking about it. So let me know in the comments what you think I should do with that. Is Supabase the way to go? Is that where everyone's going? Or do I stick with Firebase and bet on Google, because Google's doing big things as well? So I don't know. Anyways, that was day 3 in a nutshell. And if you found this helpful, let me know in the comments. And hey, if you have any pro tips with, like I was talking about, Supabase or Firebase or any other tools that might help me out as I move along, then let me know. Because, you know, I'm always trying to learn. I know that there's so many people out there that know so much more than me, that we can all kind of learn how to build these things together. All right, so thanks for tuning in, and follow along because I'm gonna go through this whole 40-day challenge, and we're gonna go into the next phase of this thing and see all the problems that came up and how I figured out how to solve them, and how I was trying to go from 0 or just a concept to an MVP in 40 days. So check in, subscribe, do all those things to see how this journey goes. All right, we'll catch you on the next one.